Today I wanted to take a couple minutes to share about what can happen when we're experiencing essentially voices in our heads when we have had an experience of either childhood or relational trauma. You know, I walked around for so many years with so many different voices in my head, constantly arguing, battling, telling me I should behave this way, or something I was doing wasn't okay, and why am I doing this? And I had no idea that that's not normal. I just thought, oh, everybody walks around like this with this constant fight in their head. And for many of my clients, this is exactly the same. There's this constant conversation and conflict and chaos that's going on internally. And what's interesting is that none of it's seen and nobody knows that that's going on because it's not something we express or present to the world with. And that's part of this huge split that can happen when we've experienced trauma, where the person that we're presenting to the world is completely different to how we feel on the inside. And the reason that this happens is because when we do experience trauma, there is a fragmentation of our psyche that occurs. And there are many aspects of ourselves during a traumatic experience that want to express but can't because it's not safe to. There's no space for it, and perhaps if we express those parts, we'll be met with more danger, with more trauma. So we end up packing a lot of parts or fragments of ourselves away, and this splitting off of our psyche occurs, and we end up developing this shell, I call it an external shell, for which to safely interface with the world. But the thing is, all these parts of us don't go away. They're living inside us, and they're what form all these voices and conflict in our heads. And they're also what cause us to have reactive behaviors and to be inconsistent in relationships or with decisions in our life because we're not cohesive. We're not one cohesive self. So I just think it's a really interesting thing to explore, and there's so much we can do to understand our fragments and to reintegrate our fragments. The reason I decided to share on this today is because I was feeling a little bit overwhelmed and just tired, so I was taking some time to go inwards, and I connect to this piece of me that told me, hey Natalia, you're cool, you're okay, you're fine, you're going in the right direction. And this very present, grounded, calm part of me is I guess it's the part of me that is formed and rational and present and not traumatized, whereas there are many other parts of me that are traumatized. And this part of me always comes when there's quiet, when there's calm. She comes through the chaos, and she holds the arc of my very messy, fragmented selves. And this is the part of me that came to the front or made herself visible to me when I started my recovery journey. And every time there is chaos or change, I can access her, and she will hold my experience and lead me. And I think when we are really traumatized and we have not yet begun our deep journey of recovery and awareness, perhaps we don't have access to that part of ourselves. But I know for me, having access to this very calm, cohesive, I guess, parent self is really important. And I know at the clinic when people arrive and they're really deep in their own stuff, sometimes on the table, that's when the first access to this part of themselves will come, the little part that says, hey, you're okay, it's going to be fine, you've got this. So I was just thinking about that today and wanted to share. And something I also wonder is if we can't access that part that tells us we're okay, sometimes I think maybe we need someone else to help us find it, and then I guess draw a map to that part of ourselves, so we can keep coming back to that grounded, kind, compassionate, parental type voice that exists within us all. My thoughts on a Sunday.